Good evening. You're watching the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened across India and the world. I'm Ishan Russell and these are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Terrorist strike, Indian Air Force base in Pathankot. 3 soldiers and all 5 terrorists killed in the fierce gun battle that followed. Prime Minister Narendra Modi condemns the terror attacks as enemies of humanity who don't want to see India progressing carried it out. India talks tough with Pakistan, says the country will give a befitting reply to any terror attack on its soil. And Finance Minister Arun Jaitley exudes confidence that the GST bill will be passed in the next session, says the numbers in Rajya Sabha will help to tilt the scale in the government's favour. A top story this evening, all 5 terrorists involved in the terror strike on the Indian Air Force base in Pathankot have been killed. 3 security personnel also lost their lives in the encounter that followed the attack. The terrorists apparently intended to blow up helicopters stationed at the IAF base, which is about 30 kilometers from the border area with Pakistan.
A terror attack in Punjab's Pathankot early Saturday morning. Unidentified militants wearing military uniforms attacked an Indian Air Force base. 4 terrorists and 3 Jawans were killed after a fierce gun battle, with Punjab Police and its elite SWAT commando units providing the outer cordon to the counter operations. With intelligence agencies having already warned of an attack, security agencies were able to launch quick action against the attack. The Pathankot IAF facility, located near the border with Pakistan, is the base of MiG-21 and Mi-25 fighter aircrafts.
आज सुबह से फायरिंग हो रही है। हम सब लोग इधर दहशत के माहौल से रह रहे हैं। हमारा आसपास का सारा एरिया खाली करा दिया है।
अभी हमारे पास एक ये जो आई है इंजर्ड पर्सन आया है, उसके एक तो थाई पे शॉट इंजरी है, गन शॉट इंजरी है, और एक उनके पैर के ऊपर गन शॉट इंजरी है। बाकी हमने एक्सरे सारे करवा लिए हैं।
The attack is suspected to have been carried out by terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed. Sources say the attackers were from Bhawalpur in Pakistan and were ordered to blow up helicopters stationed at the base. The attack comes within 10 days of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's goodwill visit to Pakistan.
Today's attack was not something which was not expected. Hafiz Saeed had made it clear on 26th of December, the day after this visit, that Prime Minister Modi has heard the feelings of all the Pakistanis.
The attack comes 6 months after another terror strike in Punjab's Gurdaspur, when 3 terrorists equipped with grenades and AK-47s opened fire in Dinanagar, killing 3 civilians. Those terrorists were shot dead after a 12-hour-long gun battle. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has condemned the terror attack, saying it was carried out by enemies of humanity who couldn't see India progressing. He also praised the valor of the security forces and assured the countrymen that India's armed forces have the strength to defeat the enemy.
मैं देश के सुरक्षा बलों को बधाई देता हूं कि दुश्मनों के उन इरादों को उन्होंने आग में मिला दिया। उनको सफल नहीं होने दिया। और जिन जवानों ने शहादत की है, उनकी शहादत को मैं नमन करता हूं।
The Pathankot attack has cast serious aspersions over the future of India-Pakistan relations just a week after the 2 prime ministers were seen warming up to each other in Lahore. Home Minister Rajnath Singh assured the angry opposition that India would give a befitting reply to any terror attack on its soil. But the opposition political parties insist on the need to rethink the government's diplomatic initiatives. Meanwhile, Pakistan has condemned the attack.
पाकिस्तान हमारा पड़ोसी देश है। हम चाहते हैं पाकिस्तान ही नहीं बल्कि सभी पड़ोसी देशों के साथ हमारे अच्छे रिश्ते होने चाहिए। हम शांति भी चाहते हैं, लेकिन भारत के ऊपर यदि किसी प्रकार का टेररिस्ट अटैक होगा तो हम उसका मुंहतोड़ जवाब भी देंगे।
The Pathankot terror attack is not just an attack on the Indian military, but a strike at the rekindled India-Pakistan peace overtures. In a cautiously worded statement, Home Minister Rajnath Singh assured the people that India would give a strong and befitting reply to any terror attack. He reiterated India's commitment to maintaining good relations with its neighbours, but not at the cost of peace and security.
Less than a week after Prime Minister Narendra Modi met his Pakistani counterpart in Lahore, cross-border terrorism stung India once again. However, this is not the first time that dialogue between two nations have been followed by terror attack on Indian soil.
Congress led the sharp attacks on the PM's outreach to Islamabad, demanding a reassessment of the direction and nature of engagement with Pakistan.
मोदी जी हाल में ही पाकिस्तान होकर आए हैं, उसके बाद भी पाकिस्तान से आए उग्रवादियों द्वारा इतना बड़ा आतंकी हमला हमारे फॉरवर्ड एयर बेस पर अपने आप में गहन चिंता का विषय है।
आतंकवाद को खत्म करने का बात तो हमारी पार्टी हर समय कहते आई और उसके लिए जो भी कदम सरकार को उठाना है वो उठाना चाहिए और वो क्या कदम होंगे अगर बताना चाहती तो सरकार बताए, नहीं तो कुछ कदम उठाए ताकि नजर आए कि जमीन पर।
BJP ally Shiv Sena too raised questions about Islamabad's seriousness to rein in terror directed at Indian soil.
पठानकोट के बहुत ही सेंसिटिव एयरफोर्स बेस पर हमला हुआ है। ये बहुत ही गंभीर और चिंता का विषय है। जिसका डर था आखिर वही हुआ है। शिवसेना ने बार बार यही कहा है कि वार्ता पाकिस्तान के साथ पीस टॉक और टेररिज्म एक साथ नहीं हो सकता।
However, Home Minister Rajnath Singh lauded the efforts of the security forces, army, paramilitary jawans and Punjab police officials in averting the attack on the Air Force base.
Now, this is an unfortunate incident, but our security forces have given a very befitting reply. And we have a credible information about this group being sponsored by some elements from across the border.
India has vowed to hit back hard if any evidence relates the attack to the Pak-based terror group Jaish-e-Mohammed. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The security agency has had specific intelligence about the terrorist attack in Pathankot. The kidnapping and subsequent release of the Gurdaspur SP, Salvinder Singh, on Friday had alerted security forces. They then concluded that the kidnappers were heavily armed terrorists on a suicide mission to attack a specific target.
Just hours before the terrorist strike at the Indian Air Force base in Pathankot, security agencies had swung into action. A crack team of national security guards had been rushed to the area. They acted on advance intelligence to thwart the attack. The intel was put together on Friday night based on the details about an incident earlier in the day. 5 armed men dressed in army fatigues had waylaid the superintendent of police of Gurdaspur, killing his driver and injuring a friend. Post this incident, it was concluded that 4 to 6 heavily armed terrorists were on the loose in the area.
कल एसपी साहब की पहले गाड़ी जो छीनी थी, उसके बाद जो आज अटैक हुआ उसके संबंध में रेड अलर्ट किया हुआ है यहाँ पे सारे शहर में। उसके संबंध में नाकाबंदी की हुई है हमने स्नेत पुल पे और नाकाबंदी के दौरान चेकिंग कर रहे हैं हम।
National Security Advisor Ajit Doval took the call to dispatch a battery of 50 NSG commandos to Pathankot late on Friday. When the terrorists struck at 3 a.m. on Saturday, the NSG commandos were ready for them. But the alleged lack of coordination has been criticized by defense experts.
Attack on Pathankot is a shame. Why is it a shame? That it has happened like this, which has happened a number of times on army areas, on police areas, on a number of areas. Why it has happened? It has happened because there was no coordination between the civil administration and the Ministry of Defense. After the SP was kidnapped and his administration taken over, they have not bothered even to take further action.
ये नहीं है कि इंटेलिजेंस नहीं होती, मुश्किल ये होता है कि स्पेसिफिक इंटेलिजेंस की ये कब कहाँ अटैक करेंगे, वो उस किस्म की इंटेलिजेंस तो कहीं दुनिया में नहीं होती। एक चलता हुआ सिलसिला है। This is part of Pakistan-backed terrorism.
But the fact remains that the militants met with strong resistance from security personnel who were already alert to the possibility of an attack. That's probably the reason why they could not enter the Air Force base and did not manage to reach military installations, which are believed to be their main target. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Soon after the Pathankot attack, the top defence authorities went into a huddle. Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar chaired the high-level meet that lasted for about 90 minutes. During the meet, Parekar was given a detailed overview by National Security Advisor Ajit Doval about the intelligence received and the action taken by the security forces to thwart the attack. The meeting was also attended by all three service chiefs and the Defence Secretary. Now, Delhi court has remanded a former IAF official to 2 more days in police custody. He was arrested for allegedly sharing secret information with Pakistan's ISI. He'll be further questioned now for his involvement in the Pathankot terror attack. The magistrate extended Ranjit KK's custody as he had made a number of disclosures and revelations in connection with the Pathankot attack. The dismissed Air Force officer had allegedly shared secret information with intelligence operatives suspected to be backed by the ISI after being honey-trapped in an espionage racket. He's been booked under provisions of the Official Secrets Act. And security has been stepped up in other cities across the country following the attack in Pathankot. Police in various cities are carrying out security checks on the roads and monitoring movement of vehicles. From Dehradun in Uttarakhand to Shimla and Kangra in Himachal Pradesh, there is a heavy police presence. In Delhi and Mumbai, marketplaces, popular joints, railway stations and airports have been put on high alert in view of the attack. Personnel of the quick response teams have also been deployed, while bomb disposal squads and other security forces carry out regular security checks.
Security of these most visited monuments where a lot of crowd is there, national and international tourists are there. But this was to have an overall view of all arrangements starting from parking to the visiting places and all cleanliness and everything. Idea was that, along with of course security remains the main importance.
नहीं, पहले से ही हमारे पास कुछ इंटेलिजेंस इनपुट्स इस प्रकार का था कि नए वर्ष की शुरुआत में आतंकवादी कुछ अप्रिय घटना को अंजाम दे सकते हैं, तो उस आधार पर हमने विशेष कॉम्बिंग ऑपरेशन भी चलाया और विशेष सतर्कता के निर्देश भी दिए।
पंजाब में पठानकोट में जो आतंकवादी हमला हुआ है उसके मद्देनजर उत्तराखंड में भी जनरल अलर्ट के तहत हम लोगों ने चेकिंग शुरुआत कर दी गई है। खुफिया तंत्र को सतर्क कर दिया गया है। उसके साथ साथ जनपद की जो बाउंड्रीज हमारी हिमाचल और उत्तर प्रदेश से लगी हुई है वहां पर भी सघन चेकिंग अभियान जारी किया है।
वी आर ऑन हाई सिक्योरिटी अलर्ट एंड we'll ensure that nothing serious happens in our district.
Time for us to take a short break. Lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
Get live Rajya Sabha session. News, views, reports and analysis you can trust on social media. Subscribe, follow, like Rajya Sabha Television. Tales that inspire, stories of social change. A salute to diversity, promoting public discourse. Events that motivate, inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries every Friday at 10:30 p.m, Saturday 12:30 p.m and Sunday at 1 p.m.
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has said that the upcoming budget session of Parliament would be crucial for the passage of the GST bill. The reform needs a 2/3 majority to amend the constitution, and that is why it's stuck in the upper house of Parliament. The Congress has led the opposition in opposing the bill in the Rajya Sabha. However, the government's hope springs from the fact that the seats in the upper house will be reallocated soon to reflect the gains made by the BJP in state elections. The government hopes that this will help it break the deadlock. However, Jaitley said that he would reach out to opposition parties and the state governments to ensure the GST bill's smooth passage.
Meanwhile, I'll continue to discuss both with the states and with all political groups so that we can ensure its safe passage here in the House.
Even-numbered cars came out on the roads in Delhi on Saturday as the odd-even rule was enforced for the second day running. Day one of the plan saw pollutant levels dip by around 10% during the day on Friday, but rose sharply again after a dip in the temperature.
The second day of the odd-even plan also saw a reduced number of vehicles on Delhi's roads as odd-numbered cars mostly stayed off the roads. Traffic police were seen stopping violators as they tried to enforce the rule. On Friday, more than 200 people were challaned for the violation. The move has been welcomed by many commuters who want to see a drop in the alarming pollution levels.
पर ये मुहिम बहुत ही चलाई केजरीवाल जी ने ट्रैफिक बहुत कम हो गया पहले से जाम कहीं नहीं मिल रहा इसके लिए क्लैपिंग करूंगा
मैं जानती हूं कि बहुत सारे लोगों को आज कुछ परेशानियां भी आएंगी लेकिन जब हम एक व्यवस्था को छोड़ करके किसी दूसरी व्यवस्था में प्रवेश करते हैं तो स्वाभाविक तौर पे कुछ दिक्कतें आती हैं
Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, whose car bears an odd registration number, also rode a bicycle to office.
दिल्ली में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर होना बहुत ज़रूरी है। मैंने सत्येंद्र जैन से भी बात की है क्योंकि वो पीडब्ल्यूडी मिनिस्टर हैं कि अगर हम दिल्ली की 1300 किलोमीटर की रोड्स पे कम से कम साइकिल्स के लिए हम सेफ कर सकें, उसके बाद दिल्ली के और बाकी रोड्स को 4000 किलोमीटर को सेफ करेंगे।
The restrictive measures aimed at curbing pollution was rolled out in the city on New Year's Day. The pollutant levels dipped by around 10% between 8 am to 2 pm in comparison to the previous 2 days, but it rose sharply as the day wore on due to the fall in temperature. System of Air Quality and Weather Forecasting and Research said the air quality remained very poor and it was premature to conclude anything with just 10 hours available for comparison.
जितनी बड़ी भयावह तस्वीर सामने लाई जा रही थी उस हिसाब से तो लोगों को परेशानियां नहीं हुई हैं। बसें बड़े पैमाने पर खाली चली हैं, लोग हर बस की रिपोर्ट यही है, बसें खाली चली हैं, मेट्रो भी जो है काफ़ी खाली चली है, तो लोगों को कल परेशानी तो नहीं हुई है कोई।
With Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal hailing the initiative as success, the government will now look to rolling out the next phase, which could see two-wheelers included in the scheme. The rule is undergoing an initial 2-week trial with 25 categories including two-wheelers and CNG-run vehicles exempt from it. With inputs from Vipin Chauhan, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time now to take a look at what else is making news around the country and nationwide. The government today raised the excise duty on diesel by 2 rupees a litre and on petrol by 37 paise per litre. The hike seeks to take advantage of a slump in global crude oil prices to shore up government revenues without stoking inflation. The increase in excise duty will fetch the government over 4,300 crore rupees in diesel and about 80 crore rupees on petrol. At least 12 pilgrims were killed and 3 seriously injured when a jeep they were travelling in ran into a bus in Uttar Pradesh's Balrampur this morning. The pilgrims were returning from a temple in the city. The Karnataka government is making helmet wearing compulsory for pillion riders from mid-January. This is being enforced since the number of two-wheeler riders killed in road accidents has been on the rise in Bengaluru. A government notification is likely to be brought in during the second week of January. Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao has directed officials to take steps to supply power for 9 hours to farmers during the day from the coming Kharif season. Rao told officials to increase electricity generation capacity from the current 4,445 megawatts to 4,600 megawatts. Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh launched a website on Saturday on public complaint management system that will monitor and redress complaints sent in by the public. Singh called for greater transparency in the police department. He said that the project is aimed at resolving people's complaints at the earliest. Some international news now, and a bit of a doublespeak by Pakistan because the army chief over there, General Rahil Sharif, has vowed to rid the country from the scourge of terrorism in 2006, asserting that all negative forces would be scuttled. Addressing a gathering in the tribal area of Makran, Rahil Sharif said that the new year will be the year when terrorism will end. He expressed optimism that the year would be one of national solidarity and that Pakistan would witness the birth of peace and justice in 2016. General Sharif, however, stressed the need for the entire nation to extend support to the armed forces in this regard. He said there was a nexus between terrorism, corruption and crime, and that the elements involved in terrorism and financial corruption had developed close relations to help each other out. He asserted that all negative forces in the nexus would be defeated. China has launched 3 new military units in a bid to further strengthen its army. The military reform comes amid China's growing claims to territory in the East and South China Sea. This will likely add to the already strained ties with its neighbors.
In a bid to assert its power in the Far East, China has announced reforms to its military, upgrading its fighting capacity. China has created 3 new bodies as part of its military modernization scheme, making it the world's largest standing force. Chinese President Xi Jinping conferred military flags to the heads of the 3 new units, namely General Command of the People's Liberation Army, a PLA missile force, and a strategic support force. The new strategic support force will likely focus on cyber warfare.
成立陆军领导机构是党中央、中央军委和习主席作出的战略决策，是深化国防和军队改革的一个重大举措，有利于加快陆军现代化建设步伐，为健全联合作战指挥体制创造条件，也有利于军委机关调整职能、精简机构人员。
She urged the PLA officers and soldiers to adapt to the operational changes and explore the development features. The overhaul of the Chinese military administration also includes phasing out old equipment and reducing troop numbers. A strong Chinese military is the core of Xi Jinping's dream of renewal of the Chinese nation. It is hoped that the 3 modern military units will act as a strategic reinforcement to the country's position as a major power that can win information age wars. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, massive manhunt is underway in Tel Aviv in Israel for a gunman who opened fire on a popular bar and other shops in the center of the city yesterday. 2 people were killed and 7 others were injured.
Police sirens blaring in Israel's commercial capital in a massive manhunt. Roads around the site of the attack and the central bus station were sealed off. With the suspect still at large, police declined to offer a motive.
בשלב הזה אני לא יכול לתת הערכה, אנחנו גם לא עוסקים בהערכות. אני רוצה להיות יותר קרוב לוודאות, אבל בשלב הזה כל כיווני החקירה נבדקים, אין לנו ודאות כרגע, לא בהקשר הפח"עי ולא בהקשר הפלילי המובהק.
The attacker, who in video footage appeared to be dressed in black and wearing glasses, fled after opening fire on a cafe, killing 2 people. At least 7 others were injured.
הפצועים חלקם היו בתוך הפאב בפנים, 3 מהם שכבו כשהם מחוסרי הכרה, ושאר הפצועים היו על המדרכה. הם כולם קיבלו טיפול רפואי ראשוני בשטח ופונו במהירות לבתי החולים.
David Barkle, whose son Alan Barkle was killed in the shooting attack, told reporters that his son had just graduated from his 4th year in law school.
הילד מת, זה הבן שלי שנהרג, זה הבן שאני רק, למה יצאתי לספר לכם? רציתי לספר לכם איך אנחנו מאבדים את הילדים הטובים שלנו. זה ילד שלא היה ילד רגיל.
This is the first attack in Tel Aviv since 2nd of November when 2 people were killed in a stabbing attack in South Tel Aviv. Israel has seen a wave of Palestinian street attacks since October, fueled in part by Muslim anger over stabbed-up Jewish visits to Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque complex. There was no immediate claim by Palestinian armed groups for Friday's attack. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
News is coming in. Veteran CPI leader A.B. Bardhan has died after a prolonged illness. He was 92. The leader was admitted to a hospital in Delhi after suffering a paralytic stroke. Bardhan had been taken off the ventilator on Friday and was able to breathe normally, but his condition deteriorated on Saturday. Bardhan's funeral will be held in Delhi on Monday. The 92-year-old leader was a leading figure of the trade union movement and left politics. He rose to become the General Secretary and the President of the All India Trade Union Congress, the oldest trade union in India. Bardhan moved to Delhi politics in the 90s and became the Deputy General Secretary of the CPI. He succeeded Indrajit Gupta as the General Secretary of the party in 1996. And let's go across to our correspondent Sham Sundar for more on this. Sham, Comrade Bardhan had been ailing for some time now, but indeed a big blow to the CPI organization.
Definitely, though he was relieved from General Secretary's post, but he was quite active in CPI and he was staying in party office only. He was a old-timer for very long and he was a very well-known figure in trade union, and when he became General Secretary of CPI, and especially when Harkishan Singh Surjit was General Secretary of CPM. So both these leaders were known for their skills in coalition politics, and we remember when UPA 1 especially was formed, and he was instrumental with Mr. Harkishan Singh Surjit. So he was a very, not only for communist movement in India, but in general, he was a big figure in Indian politics. So it is a big loss for overall if you talk about Indian politics.
Absolutely. Indeed, a big blow for Indian politics at large. But Shyam, if you talk about A.B. Bardhan's major contributions, of course, you highlighted the UPA 1 and how he and Harkishan Singh Surjit as the CPIM General Secretary were instrumental in that creation. If you talk about his political career, that is A.B. Bardhan's, what more highlights could you talk about?
Well, his political career started in Nagpur. He contested many elections there, though he was successful in only one election there. But especially in trade union movement, his contribution is quite big. And after that, in formalizing Indian Communist movement, and especially in the changing times of economic liberalization era after 1987 especially. So it was a big task for communist movement, and big challenges were there, and with other communist leaders like Harkishan Singh Surjit and other leaders, he was instrumental for carving a new path for the communist movement. So, and if I talk about my personal experience with him, he was quite friendly with journalists. All journalists who covered left, we all know that Comrade Bardhan was very, very friendly, and he generally, like a senior figure in Indian politics, he always treated all journalists with warmth, and all of us will remember him fondly. That I can say.
Yes, absolutely. Indeed, one of the old school politicians was A.B. Bardhan. And Shyam, we've talked about his life, his career, but he leaves at a time where the party is at a very interesting crossroads. It's really a battle of survival for the CPI. We saw the CPIM hold its plenum session and relook its strategy. But as far as the CPI is concerned, how big a dent is Comrade Bardhan's departure?
You're right, Ishan, and in fact, Comrade Bardhan was advocating merger of CPI and CPM. We know that in 1964, CPM came out from CPI only on certain ideological differences, and his line was that in current situation, it is challenging times for the communist movement in India, and that is why there is no point now, though that situation is no more there, which was in 1964. So he was a big advocate for merger of both the parties, though CPM didn't agree for it, but he was till very recently he was advocating this thing that CPI and CPM should merge to take the challenge, and his contribution in left front that way is very, very important and significant. Though he, in an interview, he in fact on Rajya Sabha TV, he said that when Jyoti Basu was offered a prime ministership, he and his colleague Surjit at that point of time, they tried their best, and that was the moment when the younger generation of leaders, they didn't listen to these experienced leaders, and both the parties, not only CPI but CPM, also paid a cost for that blunder. So that way, it was very, very. He tried till last to give a way to the communist movement in the country in these challenging times.
All right, Shyam, we'll leave it over there. Shyam, of course, will keep a track of the story for us, but thanks very much for joining in and helping us understand the life and work of A.B. Bardhan, who passed away today at the age of 92. On that somber note, we'll wrap it up. That's the news tonight. Good night.